are trying to reach is not accepting calls at this time. Please try back later.
Please leave a message after the tone.
Okay, Max, I get it. You're the prank master, but it's not funny anymore, so stop screwing around out there and come back to the cabin, okay? Oh, you're so annoying sometimes.
Hey man, have you seen Alice? She just left me a super weird voicemail saying come back to the cabin, but I've been here all night waiting on you guys to show up. Call me back, dude.
Whatever you do not come back to the cabin. I got Max. Max is dead, okay? Max is...
911, what's your emergency?
Yes, hi, hello. This is Seth Newton. Well, actually, Seth Alexander Newton. And
Sir?
and we're out here by cabin 86, and there's a man out here.
Sir?
And he's hunting us. He's hunting my friends.
Sir, are you
I think some
injured?
of them might be dead. We're out in the East Woods, and we don't look back, don't look back, don't look back. Oh my God, he's coming. He's coming. We need help.
Sir?
All right. That wasn't the smoothest transition, but we're here. We're doing it. How is everyone doing tonight?
Hey, everybody.
Matt's here. Matt's here hanging out. I have no idea if that was like audible at all. I wish there was a way I could just like play a trailer before the video, you know? But I don't know. I don't know. I'm not.
I don't do tech stuff.
You just write the games.
You guys hit me with sticks and I write games. Yep.
It's time for kill. Oh man. I wonder if I can make chat bigger on this screen. Wouldn't that... Oh, Mark David in chat. That's my dad, by the way.
Hey. Does he have a Japanese wood saw as well?
He does not. At least, not that I know of. I mean, he may have acquired one at some point. I wish I could make stream chat bigger. I don't know. That's another thing I'll have to mess with.
So our goal for tonight is to kind of slow it down a little bit, do a walkthrough kind of from start to finish. Connor's going to play all of the characters. I'm going to kind of help out with rules and walk through the steps so that you guys can see a little bit more of the structure of the game.
We have some graphics we're going to throw up on screen. We have, hopefully, a little bit more clear step-by-step, and then we can export it to YouTube. We also have a better top-down view of the table this time. And this camera is now our up-close and personal action. Again, there is a bit of a lag, and sometimes it just stops working. But if I could buy another webcam, I would. That's just not the times we're in. Oh, my finger's in front of the lens. Perfect.
Your dad's got a Japanese cleaver, though. Even
more
thematic for Don't Look Back.
Is it Japanese or is it Chinese? That's
Don't
right.
ruin it. It's Japanese.
It's Japanese. That thing is nice. It's like a boning. It's like an all-in-one. Like you can just like go through bone, chop up vegetables, scoop them up, throw them in the.
Sounds
maybe
like
we should do
a Boxcar Willie specialty.
A cooking stream. That would be kind of exciting. Yeah, that's a box cover. Discover games with a follow. Thank you very much, man. Thanks for hanging out. I think that's a new
The other
follow.
cool thing about this view, since it's top down, is in the other games that we played on stream, you couldn't really see the back of the house and the cabin, and now on here you can see the sweet like porch back there.
You can actually see like the full lay of the land.
I like that a lot.
So some bulgogi sounds delicious. You're good. We actually just started, just tuned in. We've already set up the table. Set up how, Connor? Well, don't worry. This time we're prepared. There we go. So I just threw up the Where's Pat scenario. This is from an older document. Some things have changed before the final rulebook. Just the exports we had were from the old one. But you can check out that Where's Pat. That is a scenario. So table setup. Set up the table as a thick woodland, lots of rocket croppings, copses of trees, and a cabin in the middle of table section D. That's what I've done. I've taken a liberty with the trees that I have, because I don't have any rock pieces. But that's kind of the nice thing about the setups. You can make them what you want, as long as the objectives are... what? Bro, what? You're gonna be upset? Oh, you did? Oh, shoot. Okay, well, hold on a second. Let's
yeah, it's definitely worth... You can see where our play testing to where it's at now. This graphic is gonna... it's gonna look real good.
Dude, this is frustrating because I looked for the new one and I didn't find it.
But what Connor was starting to say about taking the liberty of kind of changing out using trees and rocks. So a lot of the description in there's some set pieces of terrain, but then a lot of them will say things like add your woodland scatter to create dense woods, whatever you'd like it to look like. And if you're starting to pull into some of the optional rules, what you decide to use doesn't matter because you can assign things like area terrain. You can make it difficult terrain. So it's really creating the theme and the scene that you want to make. So take the table setup kind of how you will, and with with the terrain and things that you're using.
Ben, I do not see. Yeah. If you did upload it, it's not here. That's fine. The old one...
He just had his clouds all messed up.
Yeah, the old one works okay. For those of you, again, just tuning in, this is an old page export of what we have for Where's Pat, which is the scenario setup. The new one has some updated graphics and some minor rule changes and things like that. But just to give you an idea, you have your table set up, you have your points of interest. So in this case, your point of interest says, I haven't done this yet, randomly place 2 points of interest tokens 6 inches from each of the center points of table section B, C, and D. So to do that, I'm going to use my point of interest tokens. They're the green side. We can turn off this graphic real quick. So you have the gray side and the green side. Green side is what we use for point of interest. 6 inches random direction. So I'm using the dice, the top of the triangle here, to decide the random direction. It's pointing this direction. We're going from the center of B, C, and D. I know it's a little like 90-degree tilt for you there. I can only do so much. All right, I can only do so much. You can check in on this graphic again. You can see the 4 quadrants. So let's do that. 6 inches in this direction for the first one. And I'm just kind of estimating.
8 inches. You're gonna be 8 inches.
It's 8. If it's off by an inch or so, it doesn't really impact too much. It is random. This one goes this way, and it looks like it may be in the house. So I'm drawing a line.
You could even in the graphic we use the D20. You could even use the top of the D10s, and you could do 2 at once. You like the D20 and the D10, and you could do both in the quadrant.
So to find the center,
your setup.
Find the center. I just measured from this corner to this corner, just 26, and halfway is 13. Right here. So it's right in the house. It's 8 inches from that, which actually means this one's going to end up like on the road. Yeah, right on the side of the road. Maybe Pat was trying to get out of the road. And then the last one is in this last table section. Same thing. Measure, approximate center, which is right there. And roll the die. 19. Ooh. And the dog yard. That's what I've dubbed this little playpen area. All right, so that's that. Ben says that he has a new graphic, so I'm going to try to upload that real quick, just because it will be a bit more clear. Let me grab. So do you want to go into a little bit of the lore of Pat, Matt? talk about
Yeah,
the
sure.
intro and what's going on with the scenario?
So, all of the plots, you'll see this eventually when he brings up the graphic again, all have an inspiration, and that's just to kind of help you, the players, kind of get into a mindset for how you might want your characters to act, to kind of get the feel for the scene, and to help you make the choices that your characters are going to make. And in this one, the group's been out camping for a couple of nights now. Pat headed out to kind of do a little hike in the morning. The day went by, and last night Pat never came back. Spent the day waiting, and now here you are, starting to head out about noon to look for Pat. Starting to get dark. Pat still hasn't come back. So what we're going to be doing is heading down into the valley here by the cabin, and just kind of looking for Pat. So the point of interest tokens are going to represent spots that maybe Pat could be. So characters are going to be going and trying to investigate those to find Pat. This scenario has a couple of special rules. And the first one is find your way. Characters cannot start investigating tokens until turn 2, as they're just starting to kind of get the lay of the land. Help is on the way, so they've called for help. A call went out to the ranger station, so on turn 7, we can place a supporting character in table section A.
I don't know if that's scaled right. Is that readable at all for you guys? I feel like the image was way too small, but I can't really see what's going on. Oh, you saw some dogtails back there. That was a special little treat. You can see the updated graphic and how
Yeah, much different, much better.
Much more illustrates kind of what's going on there.
Doug's saying it's pretty pixelated for the text.
It is, and I'm not sure how to do it. But hey, we don't need to reference this besides the setup, and that's kind of what you're looking at there. If you want to see it in full HD, you could buy the rulebook.
You can read it much easier there.
Get out of here, dogs. Shoot.
So in this scenario, investigating the points of interest has a little bit more character to it. So when you are investigating a point of interest token, and you successfully do that by rolling under your awareness, then you're going to roll on the investigation table for this. And the longer it takes you to find Pat, the more likely you are to find what's left of Pat and not a happy lost Pat. So we'll get to see that as the game goes on. This one is 14 turns. There aren't going to be any lights on the table to start with, and the objective for this plot, once Pat has been found, at least 3 characters, not including Pat, need to move off of one of the table edges in table section A before the end of turn 14. So that would be the outside edges of A. And like all the plots, you can either roll your killer once they're conjured, or you can use the theme killer that comes with the scenario. And this one is the Beast of Northwood. Folk tales talk of a beast-like man that roams the heart of the forest. So his MO is stalking, his visage is mutilated, and his traits are menacing and dead eyes. And we'll get into how those work as we go.
Staring at you with those fish eyes. So again, just one thing for a table setup. This is how you do it. You just follow along. You'll follow these graphics. On the page before this, there's a key that lets you know that the red is your fear tokens, and the points of interest when they're randomly placed won't be listed, but it will be noted they're randomly placed. We didn't want to confuse too many folks there. So that's the setup page. We've where's my thing? There we go. We've gone through that. We have the setup. We have our quadrant A, which I've set up as a little campsite, with a nice little bonfire, just ready to go. And they said, wait a second, has anyone seen Pat? She loves bonfires. Why isn't she here? Or he. Why isn't the androgynous Pat here? And that's where they're going to start. We got to figure out our 4 characters. I'm just going to roll 4 d6s here. I got 6 character sheets. Whichever ones come up, I'm just going to use. If there's any repeats, I'll re-roll. I got 2, 4, 5, and 6. Nice. All right, so Holden's out. Denise is in. Max is out. Ranger Sandy is in. Alice is in and Seth is in. It is Seth and the ladies. Seth and the ladies for tonight's game.
Ladies, man.
Of course. He's got the cheerleader, the preppy girl, and even Ranger Sandy. He is punching way above his weight class. Someone wants an exclamation mark Seth for me real quick. I'm glad he's in the game because I did put this in. Exclamation mark Seth.
Or don't do it, because I'm sure it'll be cool.
Go ahead, exclamation mark Seth. Maybe it'll be fun. It's the duality. The duality that is Seth. So I don't know if you guys haven't checked out, but this is how the characters are going to be coming. Got these dope VHS cases. Got some retro graphics. This is our prototype of foam. It works pretty well. We ordered the full stuff of the correct thicknesses. I kind of had to make these, which is why it's a little squished, but the actual thicknesses. It can hold your dice and most of your tokens. Moon is trying to get in. Anyway, so we'll grab Seth out. Grab Denise. Ranger Sandy. And Alice. And can I close this up? Nice satisfying click. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Here we go, I'll get it closer.
Connor, while you're grabbing them out, this might be dropping something here, but are we going to do a kind of a talk later this week?
Yes, we should have a bit of like a just chatting later this week. We haven't figured out the day, but there is a oh my love Flo Shinobi with the raid. How many is it? Get out of here, chat. Get out of here, message. With 36, goodness gracious. Ninja words. I gotta learn that so I can.
So I think if we're gonna be doing a little chat, and you're here today, so we've been having a conversation with a couple of the people that have been playtesting, and Moya Moya is one of those folks. So there's actually been a couple of changes to some characters, and it might be fun on Thursday to kind of talk about what some of those changes are and why they got changed as we've been playing. So that might be something interesting to tune in to.
If you guys are just coming over from a live stream and you haven't seen us, where have you been? He's been great about hosting me, and he's been a bro. I have to let the dogs in before they knock down the door. We are running through our third playthrough of Don't Look Back. If you check the Twitch VODs, you can see the first two, as well as our YouTube. We're BSS Terrain on everything. What Matt's talking about is a bit of a just chatting. If you have questions about the game, or you want to go through it, go through the people that have been playtesting it as well. We're going to be doing that. We just set up the board. We haven't started the rounds. We just selected our characters.
Seth's life is coming.
That's
all you need to know.
Seth managed to get in the game again, unfortunately. Doug just did plug the page. If you haven't seen the game, we released it this weekend, and it's doing pretty well. People seem to be liking it. But thanks for joining
really
us.
excited.
Thanks for hanging out. We're going to be doing a bit of a step-by-step today. So, as I mentioned, we went through the setup according to that page. Don't look at it too much. It's a little pixelated and a bit embarrassing. And then after that, we do have our round phases. I can't quite read this because it's bright. It's okay. There's going to be blood behind them. And then we'll be good. Yo, Fred Frog, how's it going? Thanks for joining.
There he is.
So yeah, we're on round one of Where's Pat? Again, right here. Where's Pat? That's the scenario. Don't look at it too long. And we just set our characters.
So if you're just coming in and joining us, we've been out camping. Our friend Pat went off to go take an inspirational meditative hike. It's been an evening or a day and an evening since we've seen Pat. Now we're starting to get kind of worried. So we're going to head from our camp up here and start trying to find Pat because we're getting worried.
Yeah, we got Ranger Sandy with us. We've called for backup from Ranger Sandy. She's going to help us out here. We've got Seth and the ladies, other than that. And they were out on the dock, and Ranger Sandy says, "What are you guys doing on this dock about to light this bonfire? Your friend's been missing for at least 12 hours. which everyone
It's officially
knows.
missing persons here
Everyone knows on
in the Eastwoods.
in the park, anything over 11 is dangerous territory. What's this killer's name? What's his name? I forget.
This is the Beast of Northwood.
Oh, yes. Well, the Beast of Northwood, the resident Beast of Northwood, everyone knows over 12 hours you're probably dead. So, where is Pat, our androgynous friend? We don't know. We're going to find him and or her. Should we just pick one? Nah, we'll leave
Them.
it.
We're going to find them.
We're going to find them. We're going to find her. All right, so we're in round 1. I don't have round counters.
So in the first phase, this is the fright phase. This is where the environment really starts to kick in, set the scene, and start to kind of mess with the characters. So what we're going to be doing, the first thing you would do is check for character terror. So as a game goes on, characters are going to build up terror points from encountering the killer, passing through strange buildings and shadows, running into these fright tokens that are around the board. And if you hit the character, or I'm sorry, if you get to the first part of the fright phase and your character has 10 or more terror points on them, then they fall victim to the killer. They've gone crazy, they're insane, they head off into the night, curl up in a ball on the ground, they're no longer useful. So luckily, we're all okay, at least for right now. And then we're going to go into step 2 of the fright phase, and we're going to begin by building tension. So we have these fright tokens on the board, and as the game goes on, they become more and more active, begin to harass the characters more, and really kind of set the scene as tension's building. So Connor's going to go ahead and roll a d10, and on the first turn, if he gets a 10, then the fright tokens, which are kind of scattered around there, you'll see them in white, they'll activate. Otherwise, they're going to sit where they are for now. Just be menaced in the distance.
And the meta theory behind this is when you start exploring, you hear rustling leaves, you hear creaking, you hear animals, and these represent these spooky things. And so it's causing you to jump and be a bit paranoid. So when we're rolling to see if they go off or actually become the killer, that's what we're finding out. We call it the building tension mechanic because you never quite know when the killer is going to show up and start axing you. I say axe because this killer does have this is an axe-based killer right now. You do have options. You do have options for killers. So I'll roll a d10. Here we go. It is a 6. So they don't go off. We don't have to worry about the killer showing up. They're just creaking. The forest is just doing its thing right there. Go ahead, Ben.
All right. So the next thing we're going to do is head... we would check to see if there aren't any more fright tokens, but there are, so we don't have to worry about generating. If we ever get to this part of the fright phase and they've all been activated or removed, then we would immediately place 2 new ones in 2 different board sections. But we're good. They're on the table. We don't have to worry about conjuring the killer because he hasn't shown up yet. And they're...
Yep. So we would go from the fright phase to the killer phase. Killer phase hasn't shown up yet, so it is our character phase. With the character phase, you can choose any order you want. It is a co-op game. Feel free to play for the story. If you say, I'm going to do this, and you do it, and then you think, oh no, that was a dumb thing, I should probably have done this, maybe just do that, Not a big deal. Just play the game and have some fun.
It's all about creating the scenes.
Yeah. I'm going to be controlling all 4 today. So I'll start with Ranger Sandy. Ranger Sandy is going to venture forth. Say, oh, I know. And what is this killer's name?
The Beast of Northwood.
I know the Beast of Northwood. He likes to kill people by the old graveyard, which is over here.
Ranger Sandy is swell, but she's also seen some stuff in her life.
She has. Ranger Sandy has been in it, Ranger Sandy. Oh, well, camera.
Moya coming in with Team Denise down here.
Okay. Denise is playing. That's fair. I thought you didn't like Denise.
Team Bad Girl.
All right. So normally, since I moved twice, I would have to roll to see if the character trips. But no one has any fear yet, so that's not an issue. It's the first turn. It's pretty easy going. Seth has a great movement of 6 inches, already out of breath.
Yeah, for both using both of his actions, he gets 6 inches.
Right. Alice is moving 10. She just cartwheeled down the pier. And Denise is going to go 8. So they've spread out. They've started their hunt, their search for their friend Pat. Let's see.
And the more that they yell and call for her, the more restless those things in the woods are starting to become.
Pat! Pat! And then the Beast of Northwood, he's like, oh, I've already killed him, her. Let's move to round 2. So
all right,
round 2,
so we're going to go back to the top of the phase. And we're going to roll a building tension. So now there's a steep jump. The first turn, things are starting to build. So 10 plus, so a 1 in 10 chance that things are going to happen. Now on turn 2, it becomes a 6. So we become drastically more likely to start running into creepy things.
That is in the book. We aren't showing it on screen, but that jump is in the book. It's really to allow you your first turn and most probably not get the killer. Because if you get your killer your first turn, that is bad news bears. That is, you have to be pretty good to overcome it. So we try to limit that to being a once in a while thing. All right, rolling a d10. It is a 2. So
nothing.
Good. They're good. So we don't generate more because they're already on the table. Killer isn't placed. We go to the killer phase. Killer isn't placed. We go to the character phase. This is still turn 2. Of the character phase.
So this is the first turn also that we would be able to investigate any kind of tokens.
I'm going to put,
so that would include fright or points of interest.
The points of interest are pretty far. All right, let's see. Where did my tape measure go? Hey, Wally, can you pick a new spot? Thanks. Literally right where I need to stand every time. All right.
Dog, not a cat. What's he doing?
Ranger, I think I'm going to invest. I think I'm going to try to stick together for the first bit, at least in the same grouping. So Ranger's saying he's going to move 2 movements and is within 2 inches of this area terrain. Let's move this camera over here. Because she's within 2 inches of that area terrain, I need to roll a jump scare. I'm using the optional jump scare rules. I rolled a 4. Matt, what's 4 on the jump scare table?
That would be flickering lights. So if there were any lights on the table, if Seth had already used his flashlight, the ballasts are going to start going out on. They're going to start flickering, and we would flip all light tokens on the table.
Spooky.
Within 12 inches.
Spooky lights. But there's no light token, so that's fun. Next person, Alice. Alice is going to head towards the house. She knows her friend Pat and knows that they like deforesting trees, that they like the nice air conditioning. Moves 10, actually does move within 2 of that terrain. If your movement takes you anywhere within 2 inches throughout the movement, then you roll at the end of your movement. That's a 3. What's a 3 on the fright table?
It would also be flickering lights.
Flickering
they
lights.
Would have flickered off on the last character action. And then on this one, this jump scare, they would have flickered back on. And lights in this game keep you safe. So walking into light removes some of your terror, protects you from most of the killers that you could run into. They won't come into the light. But it is not uncommon for you to seek refuge inside the light, start to catch your breath, they flicker out, and then something horrible grabs you from the shadows.
Jump scare on Denise. That is an 8.
Oh, strange shadow. Character gains 1 point of terror. Something's moving around in there.
Ooh, I need to get my terror points.
Is it the Beast of Northwood?
VHS
we don't know yet.
Drop that there. Okay. And Seth, he's going to try to straight line it to this house because he really needs to move in a straight line. No jump scare for Seth. And that would be the end of turn 2. Now we're on turn 3. And if you weren't here at the beginning, we have 14 turns to find Pat and get out. If we don't do it, then the Beast of Northwood kills us all.
So here we go. It's turn 3, so on a 5 or better. 50-50 chance. Things in the woods are going to start giving us the business.
Back to the fright phase. Here we go. It's a 6. All right.
Here they go. So we're going to start with the fright tokens that are closest to characters.
So that's definitely, there is a fright token in the center of B, which is over here, C, which is here, and then D, which is actually in the house. So I'll set this to the side for now. Do a roll. 3. That's for this character. 3 means move 6 inches, right?
Did you hear that? Nope. That's a did you hear that? Remove the fright token. Turns out to be nothing.
Haha. Bye-bye, fright token. Did you hear that? It was just the trees. Next one will be for the one in the house. 7. That's a move.
What was that? Move the token 6 inches towards the closest character.
And obviously, they can just move through doors and stuff.
Yeah.
The killer has to move around things, but fright tokens are more...
Because they can represent a changing situation. So it could start out as wind in the trees, they move into the house, maybe it's creaking pipes, a strange shadow in the closet, and then eventually it'll turn into the killer.
5. That one is moving 6 inches.
Yep.
Just gonna put it right around there. All right, so no killer.
So Beast of Northwood's lurking in, getting closer somewhere. Can hear its breathing.
Yeah, no collision. That's what I was trying to say. So there's no killer phase, so we're back down to the character phase. This is turn 3 right now. All right, what do we got here? I'm gonna move 5 to beside the gravestone.
That's a good place to be.
Well,
that's not ominous.
And 5. This would also be a certain thing that you could house rule, and this is what we want to encourage and why you'll see in the rulebook a thing called the rule of cinema. If I'm playing, I kind of wanted to say, well, if you're by something spooky like gravestones, maybe you get a point of terror. As far as like house rules and playing this as written, once you get the core concept of the game, you can kind of think of those added elements to put on top of it yourself. We want this game to be a cinematic sort of experience. This isn't a game where you're rolling 50 dice and then canceling them out and then just seeing who got higher rolls. Like, this is a game where you try to tell a story. Doing it by myself would be possible, but I am happy to have Matt here because it is something that you play with a person. You can kind of bounce back ideas from, and oh, what if this just happened? Or what if that just happened? And that's ultimately the core of what is Don't Look Back. It's supposed to be an experience, not just a victory. So she moved twice, does not have any terror. Don't need to see if she trips. She did move through area terrain, is now 2 inches within area terrain. Do I need to roll another fright token or jump scare, Matt?
Only is this her first one for this turn. So regardless
Yes.
of how many kinds of area terrain or things that you decide are going to be area terrain, you only ever jump scare once per turn. So if this is our first one, then go ahead and roll it.
Yep,
Let's
she
see what
hasn't
happens
been
to
jump scared this turn, so maybe these gravestones are doing something spooky. It's a 2.
Ooh, that's a good one.